All right, today we are diving into a book that has touched millions of lives, Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist. You know, it's this incredible story about a journey, a dream that just won't go away, and this really profound idea that maybe, just maybe, the greatest treasure you're looking for is waiting for you right back where you started. So let's just start with that. Think about this for a second. What if your dreams, what if they weren't just random noise your brain makes at night? What if they were an actual map, a real guide pointing you straight towards your one true destiny? I mean, that's a huge idea, and it's exactly what kicks off this entire story. Okay, so let's meet our hero. His name is Santiago, and he's a young shepherd boy in Andalusia, Spain. Now, his parents, they had a pretty set path for him. They wanted him to be a priest, a stable, respectable life. But Santiago, he wanted something else entirely. He craved adventure. So he chose to be a shepherd for one simple reason: freedom. The freedom to just travel and see the world. And this is where things start to get, well, a little magical. There's this old abandoned church with a sycamore tree growing inside. And every single time Santiago sleeps there, he has the exact same dream. A child comes to him and tells him there's a hidden treasure waiting for him, all the way at the Egyptian pyramids. I mean, it's so persistent, so specific. You can see how this becomes the little spark that's going to light up his entire journey.
So while he's wrestling with his dream, trying to figure out what it all means, he bumps into this mysterious old man. And this guy introduces him to probably the most important idea in the whole book, the personal legend. And what is that? Well, the old man explains it's not just some goal you have. No, it's your destiny. It's the thing you were put on this earth to do. And he drops that famous line, you've probably heard it, when you really, truly want something, the entire universe conspires to help you get it.
But, and this is a big but, the old king also points out the very first roadblock. He asks, why do so many people just give up on their personal legend? And the answer is simple: fear. It's that deep, nagging feeling that maybe we don't really deserve our own dreams. Wow, that's a powerful idea, right? And it's this huge internal wall that Santiago has to climb over first. And you know what? He does it. He overcomes that fear. Santiago makes this absolutely monumental decision. He sells his entire flock of sheep. I mean, think about that. That's his whole life, his job, his identity, everything he knows. And he sells it all for a ticket on a boat to Africa to chase this dream. He literally chooses the unknown over everything that's comfortable and familiar. So he gets to Africa, full of hope, and bam, disaster strikes immediately. He's in Tangiers, and this guy who pretends to be his friend, his guide, well, he turns out to be a thief. And just like that, in a flash, every single bit of Santiago's money is gone. So now he's totally alone, completely broke, in a country where he can't even speak the language. It feels like the dream is over before it even had a chance to start. But this next part, this is absolutely crucial. He could just collapse, right? Give in to total despair. I mean, who wouldn't? But he doesn't. Instead, he learns this incredibly important lesson right then and there. He realizes that the fear of suffering is almost always worse than the suffering itself. That worrying and agonizing over it is a heavier weight to carry. So he makes a choice. He's going to act, not let fear paralyze him. So what does he do? He gets a job with a local crystal merchant. And at first, it's pretty humble stuff, just cleaning glass in exchange for a meal. But Santiago has this amazing spirit, and he comes up with all these great ideas that don't just help him get by, they completely turn the merchant's failing shop around. They make it a huge success. And for 11 long months, he just works his tail off and saves every penny, really proving to himself just how resilient he can be. And his time at the shop sets up this really fascinating contrast. See, the crystal merchant, he has a dream too. His whole life he's wanted to make the pilgrimage to Mecca, but he's terrified of actually doing it, terrified of change. Santiago is the complete opposite. He dives headfirst into risk. He looks at the world and sees signs and possibilities everywhere, while the merchant just wants to hold on tight to what's safe and predictable. Two totally different paths. Okay, so now Santiago has earned back all his money and then some. He could easily just buy a ticket back to Spain, buy an even bigger flock of sheep, and be a rich man. But does he? Nope. He doubles down on his personal legend. He uses the money to join a caravan that's going to take him right across the massive Sahara Desert. And this part of the journey is huge. He meets an Englishman who's looking for a famous alchemist. They reach this giant, beautiful oasis, and it's there that he falls head over heels in love with a woman named Fatima. So one day he's at the oasis, just watching a couple of hawks flying in the sky, and all of a sudden he has this intense, violent vision. He sees an army attacking their peaceful camp. And this is a huge moment because it's not just a daydream. This is him finally, truly learning how to read what the book calls the language of omens. He's starting to see how everything is connected, just like that old king told him he needed to.
He runs to the chieftains of the oasis and tells them what he saw. And of course, they're skeptical at first, right? But something makes them listen to him. And sure enough, just like he saw in his vision, an army attacks. But because they were ready for it, they save the oasis. And just like that, Santiago goes from being a stranger to a hero, and he's rewarded with a ton of wealth and status.
So at this point, Santiago seems to have it all. He's got money, he's got respect, he's found love. I mean, he could just stop right here, right? But he gets this stark reminder of a lesson from the journey. The beginner's luck phase is over. Now comes the real challenge. He has this amazing, comfortable life waiting for him at the oasis, but his personal legend, that trip to the pyramids, it's still out there, unfinished.
And it's right at this critical moment, this crossroads, that the alchemist finally appears. You know, the one the Englishman was looking for? He reveals himself, but he's not interested in the Englishman. He's interested in Santiago. He was impressed by the boy's courage and especially his ability to read the omens of the desert. And so, the alchemist himself offers to guide Santiago on that final and most dangerous part of his journey to the pyramids.
But that final leg of the journey gets intense, fast. They get captured by a warring tribe who think they're spies. Things are looking really bad, and to save them, the alchemist does something crazy. First, he just calmly hands over all of Santiago's gold to the chieftain. And then he looks the chieftain in the eye and makes this completely unbelievable, astonishing promise. He tells them that this boy, Santiago, is so powerful that he can actually transform himself into the wind. So the chieftain, probably more curious than anything, agrees. He gives Santiago a deadline. 3 days. 3 days to do the impossible. 3 days to become one with the desert, the sun, and the wind itself. I mean, this is it. This is the final exam. It's not just about being brave anymore. It's about proving he truly understands how the world works.
For the next 3 days, Santiago goes completely silent. He doesn't talk to anyone. Instead, he speaks with his heart. He talks to the desert, he talks to the wind, he talks to the sun, and finally to what the book calls the soul of the world, the force that connects everything. And by doing this, by connecting with everything, he whips up this massive, terrifying sandstorm that just petrifies the tribesmen. And in that moment of power, he gets it. He finally truly understands that the only thing that ever makes a dream impossible is the fear of failure. The chieftain is just completely awestruck. He lets them go, no questions asked. And not long after that, Santiago is finally there. He's standing alone right in front of the incredible Egyptian pyramids. The journey is over. He's made it. He's so overwhelmed with emotion, he just falls to his knees and cries. And right there, on the spot where his tears fall onto the sand, he starts to dig for his treasure.
But the universe has one last brutal test for him. Just as he starts digging, a group of refugees from the tribal wars finds him. They beat him viciously. They take the last bit of gold the alchemist had given back to him, and they just leave him there, broken and with absolutely nothing, right at the foot of the pyramids he sacrificed everything to reach.
And then comes the twist. As the thieves are leaving, their leader turns back and starts mocking Santiago. He calls him an idiot for being so foolish as to cross a desert because of a dream. And then he says something that changes everything. He says, you know, I had a recurring dream just like that once, about a treasure buried in an old ruined church in Spain, right under a sycamore tree. But then he just scoffs and says, but I'm not stupid enough to go chasing after a dream. And hearing this, Santiago just starts to laugh. Lying there, beaten and broken, he finally gets it. The whole picture becomes clear. The treasure, it was never in Egypt. It was back home, right where he started, the whole time. But here's the thing. He had to go on the entire journey. He had to cross the world, face every single challenge, and learn the language of the universe just to be able to understand the secret that was waiting for him at home. The journey itself was the true transformation. So Santiago goes all the way back to Spain. He goes to that old abandoned church, and sure enough, he digs under the sycamore tree and finds an incredible chest of treasure. He's a rich man, but more importantly, he's a wise one. And he plans his return to Fatima, a completely changed person. And that really leaves us with this final powerful idea, right? That maybe the most important journeys we take aren't about finding something new out there. Maybe they're about gaining the experience and the wisdom we need to finally recognize the treasure that was waiting for us right where we began. It really makes you think, what treasure might be waiting for you?